emotion kind of distorts everything because like when you take the letter E, you equate that to the word feelings, you kind of mess up the motion of things. So remove the E and keep moving. That's what you do.
Spitting that E to the IMP. Keep spitting that E to the IMP. Keep spitting that E to the IMP. Ain't nothing but pimpin' these days. Keep spitting that E to the IMP. Keep spitting that E to the
Welcome back to another episode of Elevated Dialogue here on the Unkle Jr. Network. Today we have none other than Coach Dwayne Dwyer, Antoine Christopher, and today for the very first time, Cam, Mr. Hines, as I know him, my homeboy. We're gonna get started here in a minute, but before we do, I want to give a shout out to all the unks, the nephews, and women who support the channel. And let's not forget about our servicemen out there. We salute you and we appreciate you and thank you for your service. Y'all ready to get into it today?
Yeah.
Let's do it.
How's the week? Real quick, how's everybody's week?
Good, man.
Real good.
Any complaints?
Nope.
Hey, I will say this. I'm gonna shout out to Cam right now. He just started a podcast, YouTube channel show this past Monday. It was cool. I was in the chat, all of those things. Real quick, man, because I know you're gonna have to roll out earlier. Real quick, shout out your podcast and your YouTube channel real quick before we get started.
I want to thank everybody. First of all, Uncle Junior, I want to thank you for allowing me to be on. I'm a co-host with Kenya and Jasmine for our podcast called Authentic Ears. It is under Bold and Driven. It'll be on YouTube under Bold and Driven EP. It will be on Mondays at 8 p.m. And we appreciate if you guys subscribe to it. We talk about a lot of good topics. We keep it real, raw, and authentic. And, just check us out on YouTube under Bold and Driven EP, 8 p.m. Central Standard Time. Thank you.
Bold and Driven what? EP?
Bold and Driven EP.
EP.
On
What
YouTube.
the EP stand for?
Entertainment Production.
Okay.
But it's just EP. So Bold and Driven. Bold, the and sign, and driven.
Yeah.
EP.
If you get a chance, Cam, drop it in the drop the link into the chat or something like that, the private or the other one, and I'll make sure that it gets onto the stream.
Wait a minute, Monday, that's tonight. Isn't that tonight?
It was this past Monday.
Oh, got you. Oh yeah, Monday.
He goes live on Mondays. Just a heads up, I don't know if you're on Facebook or YouTube, but if you are on Facebook, I would appreciate you if you jump over there on YouTube. If not, stay on Facebook. But if you're on YouTube, go over there and hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, all those different things like that. I appreciate you in advance. We're gonna be talking about y'all mamas today. How y'all feel about that? Anybody ready to fight me?
I love mine.
Hey, listen up real quick. Every man has some type of woman or women in their life. These women have had plenty of impact on us in many ways. For this dialogue, we are not going to be focused on the women or women we have had intimate or sexual relationships with, but the women in our families that may have taught us a thing or two. Family is not limited to aunts and grandmothers, but extended women we have crossed paths with in our lives. The focus is to pull the positive things we have learned from Mama, Big Mama, Aunt Cookies, Aunt Pams, Big Sis, and all the rest of these great women and compare how these things help us in our maturing of manhood. We also want to highlight some of the things we were taught wrong that may have affected us. Both talking points should be used to help bring about more enlightened perspective about men and what we can learn from women and how what we learn can be used to help other men, our sons, and even our daughters and granddaughters. I personally do not have daughters at all. I do have 2 granddaughters. I know, Coach, you got a daughter. Well, before we get to that, I do want to get back to y'all's mamas. And I'm gonna start off by sharing a little bit about my mom. She might be watching right now. I thought about this a little bit. I'm choosing my words carefully. My mom had me early on at 18. Um, my mom took on a couple of other kids from my father before that time, and they were married for a long time. There were some struggles, but at the end of the day, we made it. You know what I mean? And I turned out to be kind of sort of okay. I learned a lot from my mom. I learned about stability. I learned about family. I learned about making something out of nothing, no matter what. My mom would go to the Goodwill. My mom still go to the Goodwill. Heck, I still go to Goodwill. I got paintings and all kind of stuff up in my house that I bought from the Goodwill. So, being thrifty with my money is one thing that I picked up from my mom. But like I said, my mom always made something, even though we may not have looked like we had, even though we may not have had, we always kind of sort of looked like we may have had something. And I appreciate her for that. This ain't Mother's Day, but I give her a little bit of flowers right now to tell her that I love her and I appreciate her for everything that she's done. Our roles has kind of changed or evolved to where we are right now. My mom watches the show on a regular basis. She gives me shout outs. She tell me she love me. She like Coach. You know what I mean? She always say Coach. She likes the way he bring his perspective and the Bible into his teaching points and stuff. She really likes that. So my mom has evolved a lot over the years, and I appreciate her, and I learned a lot from her. Like I said, I learned a lot of different things for her. So I do want to go around the horn. If y'all would like to share some good things about your mom. If not, maybe some of the things, what we talking about anyway. What are some things that we kind of sort of learned from our mothers growing up?
Yeah, I guess I'd dive into it. My story sounds a lot like yours. If I'm completely honest, my mom, she taught me a lot. I don't think I can even pinpoint it down to just one thing in particular. Being raised in a single parent home, me and my mother and my father separated when I was 3 years old. We were in Heidelberg, Germany, and we caught a hop back to the States. So she was like it, she was like my protector, my provider, my teacher. She believed in tough love. And trust me, when I tell you, when I got in them desert sands of Iraq, I appreciate every bit of it. Just being able to identify reality is something that I didn't have a choice but to do. So I greatly appreciate her. Shout out to your mom as well. I want to make sure I say that before I continue. But yeah, my mom, she taught me a lot. She's been there. She's seen me in ups and downs. And here's the best thing about it. Regardless of good, bad, or indifferent, the way that she loved me did not waver one bit. Now she would tell me the truth. And I think that's one of the things that we collectively in this society are missing. We are missing the ability for somebody to look you in your face and tell you the honest truth. You messed up. I still love you though, but you messed up. You need to understand that. So my mother was always that. She was a voice of reason. She was a pillar of strength. I've never met anybody as resilient or as strong as my mother, just being honest with you. So man, I can just go on and on and on. Strong biblical background, always love the Lord. But don't cross her. Don't cross her because she'll make sure that you understand she ain't no punk. And I love her dearly for that because it helps you to understand that you don't have to stay stuck in that dogma of what a person who loves God looks like. So yeah, man, I can do this for like the next 45 minutes, man, but I don't want to take up all the time just talking about my mom. But I love her.
Yeah, I'm gonna say the same thing. Off piggybacking off Coach, man. I think the most important thing my mom taught me was sacrifice. Oh my goodness, that woman could sacrifice, boy. I mean, she just put us first for everything. I don't even think she enjoyed herself unless we were happy, And she's the definition. People throw around the world throw around that saying strong black woman. No, my mom was the definition of that, and I don't even say that lightly. And believe me, I have women in my life to compare her to, and other women in my family to compare her to. But coming from the islands, man, oh my goodness, what she put up with, and moving to a white country, French, dealing with racism, not even letting it affect her, working 12 hours to bring home 8 hours pay, all that sort of crap, man. Just so she can keep her job over everybody else, and they'll always depend on her. So, she had to make a name for herself, especially in the field of nursing and stuff. My goodness. I don't know how she did it and came home and cooked the whole meal. I don't even know how she cooked the whole meal before she went to work. I still don't even know how I got breakfast to go to school and she was already at the house. I don't even know how that happened. I just know my father put it on the table because he left later than her. And man, I could cry right now just talking about that woman. But she knows I love her. She's my little TT. So, you know, she's my little TT. So she knows how much I love her, man. I mean, what can you say about a mother, right? And being fortunate enough to be raised in a 2-parent household. My father, he was the. I like to say my father was, the provider. I mean, a real good provider, backbone. But my mom, man, I would say she was definitely the pillar of a backbone. I think we all leaned on her. I even think my father leaned on her. And she kept on plugging away, right? I think when you have, and so I coming from that, I see the strength of having both parents in the home. But honestly, man, the way we throw around strong black woman today is nothing compared to what my mother mothers back then. I mean, they just, they look at the ones that call themselves strong today and go, no, that's just life. Strong is what we had to go through, and I remember I could tell you things like, the crap my father put her through, and she was determined to stay married. She said, I ain't gonna be no baby mama with 3 kids. She was determined to make it work. When they said till death do us part, it was that. And when it came close to death do us part, believe me, my father was the one begging. Because when he was the one on his knees when that time came. She was strong. My father said, I don't fear your mother, I fear her words. And I never knew what he meant by that until, my mother just looked at him and said something, and then you just see him, a grown man, curl up, right? And I think today he even tells that story. He's not even ashamed of that. So, I mean, mother, that's, to me, that's unconditional love. Unconditional. I don't even think she could do anything, and there's nothing she could do that I would not drop for her. She, it's like in my family, she took care of us, so now we're taking care of her. So there's no such thing as an old folks home or putting her in a shelter or any. No, it's like whatever she needs, we're gonna be there for her. And she's so soft spoken, but could be loud, boy. Ooh, them Westerners have a tongue, man. When they lash out, you just like put the head down, like if you're Almighty One, right? So yeah, man. She taught me softness. I love my parents differently, but equally. I could love my mother in a certain way that I can't love my dad because he wouldn't be responsive. I could love my father in a certain way that my mother would look at me and go like, don't say that to me, but I could say it to my dad. So there was 2 different, thresholds there. And yeah, man, unbelievable woman. And to this day, I know a lot of people say that. And she could cook, goddamn. I mean, I could remember coming home and I could still have that smell of curry from the bus stop walking down the hill. And, being an African-American family on the corner, you smelt it. So you knew it was cooking. And it was, ooh, boy, because, when you come from the islands, the food doesn't exactly stay within the house. And if you have a good barbecue in the backyard, the whole neighborhood knows you have a barbecue.
What you got for us, Cam?
Well, it's kind of hard to, one of what you guys said, but man, this is a really rough, soft topic for me because my mom is all I had. She raised 3 boys on her own, and she was the definition of selfless. I'm talking putting her kids, and she never, my mama never made over $9 an hour, but we never had to won't go without. How she did it, I still don't know to this day. She didn't expect no handouts. She didn't go out begging. She just grinded. But she also taught her boys, because she had all boys, we didn't have any sisters, that y'all got to be men because this world is not going to baby you. They're not, people are not going to care about you. And she stressed sacrifice. What are you willing to sacrifice now to get where you want to be later. And that's why that helped me so much. Like you said, Coach, the caveat what you said. When I joined the Army, man, that basic training was like nothing to me because I had already been conditioned for it. Now, I ain't gonna lie, being in Iraq them 4 times that I went, after about 6 months, them 12 on, 12 off, they get to you
Yeah,
after a
you get
while.
old.
But she conditioned us so much, because, just to prep us for life. She didn't let us make excuses. She taught us responsibility and accountability at a young age. When you look at these kids and stuff now, they're like, they go through a little hardships. They want to throw away the phone. They want to do something to themselves. And I know it's a different era kid, but it's just the sacrifice that she made for me and my brothers. Antonio, like you said, she would never have to worry about anything. Because if I would move her in here and hire a full-time nurse before she would go to a nursing home, I wouldn't allow it. But I could go on, and I don't want to eat up most of the show. But bro, I'm just like the other ones. I could go on and on forever about Clara Jackson because she's hard to be replaced.
Yeah. I think that's good. We all had, some good things to say about our moms and stuff like this. At the same time, I want to get into, I want to extend it out a little bit to maybe some aunts or grandmas and stuff like this. And I'll start, with my grandma. My grandma was probably the nicest person that I've ever met in my entire life. Like, even until this day, I don't think I've ever met anybody as nice as my grandma. Just she was just that person. Like, I don't think she ever had an enemy or anything like that. Like, just being around her was just like, I don't know. And matter of fact, when I was check this out, when me and Cam was in Iraq together, is when I got the news that she had died. And it was rough because, like, the first time I was like, hey, you got a Red Cross mission. I was like, crap. You get that Red Cross message, you already know. And for those who don't know, pretty much when you get a Red Cross message, that means more than likely somebody in your family is severely ill or injured, or somebody done died. So first time was like, hey,
that's what it's called, a Red Cross message.
That's what we call it because it comes through the Red Cross.
Oh my goodness. Oh.
Yeah. Because they have to get, like, you can't just get in contact with anybody in Iraq. You can't just call up to my unit and get in contact with me. So I don't know how they got with cell phones now, but first song was like, what was our? We had the same first song. First song. What was the first song's name? Hagen. First song. Was it Hagen?
We did have a first. Man, it's been a while, bro.
Yeah, yeah, the dude with the big mustache. But anyway, he was like, he said, yeah, man, I got a Red Cross message. He said your grandma died, and then he like a couple of seconds later, he was like, you can't go home. You know what I mean? So being in Iraq, my grandmother was the only biological grandparent that I even knew. I didn't know the other 3 grandparents. So I only knew one of mine. So, and then I wasn't able to go home and stuff. But I just learned about being nice, being selfless. Like, my grandma would take an apple and cut that joke up in 15 pieces to make sure everybody got a piece. You know what I mean? So, like, she was that type of lady. And I love my grandma. My aunts and stuff like this, they had all moved away, so they really wasn't in my life a lot. I talk to them now and here and there, different things like that. But that's kind of how it is, on my mom's side. I got one aunt over there, but it's not a lot of women that imparted a lot of different things in my life as far as my blood relatives. So I like to go around and see what you guys got.
Yeah, I guess I'll continue on in suit. So, we talked about grandmothers. So my maternal grandmother, she lived in New York. So whenever she would visit, it was always like party central for me. Like, I got excited because when she came home, it was her and my Uncle Kenneth, my aunt, and my other 2 aunts. And man, we would and me and Kenneth, my Uncle Kenneth, right around the same age. So it was like a slumber party time, man. I always got excited to be around them. But then on the other side, my paternal grandmother, I would be over there and I would spend the entire summer with them. And man, just between the both of them, man, they were just pillars of strength. I can't really explain it, but like my paternal grandmother, she was working at the hospital. and she had to be like in her 60s, late 60s by this time. And man, people tell me, say, man, I don't know where your grandmother get that strength from, but she be moving around and slinging these hospital beds like, better than some of these young cats. But then, we will always do something. Always had game nights, and she was always be like the ones that facilitate those things. So my grandmothers, I thought, were just awesome because I could just see where my mothers learned a lot of their lessons from. Where my mother learned a lot of her lessons from. Um, but then when you start talking about aunts, so my aunts, it's like a gang of them, if I'm just being completely honest. So on my mother's side, the aunt that was here with us, she kind of reminded me, and I'm not joking. She was kind of like her and my uncle Glenn. They were, because remember I always talk about the Uncle Brigade, right? So she married, my uncle Glenn. So I used to view them kind of like the Bill Cosby and Claire Huxtable back when Cosby Show was out. Because like when I seen them, I just seen a couple, and I was like, man, that's awesome. And I kind of mentioned previously like the time they spent together. But then on the other side of the family, you had, so my grandma, my paternal grandmother, she had two waves. So you had my father, then my aunt Rhett, and then my uncle Roy. But then you had my aunt Ann, my aunt Gail, and my uncle Tony. So I was closer in age to Ann, Gail, and Tony. So every summer I'm with them. And Tony is only like a few years older than me, so I always look at Tony like my brother. So when it came down to those aunts, man, I just kind of, I respected all of them. I loved them all. I learned some valuable lessons from all of them as well. But just like I would say, when you look at closeness, I'm close to all of them in a different way. But when you look at my Aunt Gail is the one that really reminds me of my grandmother. So I have a very special connection with her, and it's just something about her. I always want to make sure that she's okay. So whenever I see her, I always try to, spend time talking with her. And we have some very different conversations on a different level, but I always walk away with something. So still yet to this day, my aunt my mother's side, the Claire Huxtable of the family, right? Still yet, I still look forward to talking to her, enjoy spending time around her. And again, they're just sheer joys to be around, man. So I look at them just like extensions. Right. So you got your mother and your father, but then their siblings are kind of like their extensions. And one of the things I can say is that they never taught me a lesson that was outside of the will of my parents. And so for me, I greatly appreciated that because they recognized their roles and they never tried to contradict their sibling when it came down to me as their nephew. So that's kind of like where I'm going to go with that one. Again, they respected their sibling, and through that respect that they have with their sibling was the love, the extension of the love that I got from them.
Hey man, I like that too. Hey, Vic Orville, welcome. I know y'all just got in and stuff like this. Shout out to y'all. Y'all see the topic at the bottom. You already know y'all got the show notes and everything like that. I'm gonna start with Vic and then slide over to Orville. Um, we was talking about some of the women in our life that we learned from. Some of the family women. We already hit on moms, and now we kind of sort of on the extended family, maybe some aunts, some grandmas, and different things like that.
Oh man, all of my aunts are like my mothers. You know what I'm saying? So I learned a lot of layers to the same mindset. That um, I guess that a man would first be introduced to when it comes to, what I'm saying, the attention from a woman or understanding of a woman. And they all are powerful representations of that for me, in terms of class, style, and you know, they introduce, like a certain standard of, how I should see, the world, and it gives me, what I'm saying, a lens, a good reference point about what I deserve, or what I should be paying attention to. So I would say like the women in my life have been a really good barometer of being balanced. The ones that who have certain connections to me that I consider on a day-to-day basis by what I do, by what I say, those boundaries that have been set by them, within a certain pattern of respect and things of that nature, right? So I have my own understanding about the respect barrier for women because of the women that are in my own family. They're my reference points. So um, they let me know what side of the discussion I need to be on, and in what space I need to be in. They let me know how far I can go with certain things in my life, and how much more patient I need to be sometimes. So they're a barometer to a lot of different things in my life, because without it you could easily be distracted. You can always get off course, and you could be guided even further off course if you're not in control of your emotions. So the women in my life are a reflection of, I guess, the level of emotional control, rationale, and a level of code that can be established, to gain better understanding of what boundaries we should protect from each other, and how much more we really need each other.
I like it, man. Yeah, that's good. A lot of women in your life.
Yep.
It's a good thing. Orville, bro, you looking clean over there, looking sharp. I see the Maxwell.
Oh, he done blushed.
See you flexing your Maxwell lanyard back there. Hey, you muted. You muted, man. Oh man. Hey, we'll pick back up with him in a minute.
He killing them softly right now.
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yep. There you go.
Okay, got it. Yeah, I'm actually just running from a chamber of commerce meeting, so I just kind of like rushed right in and just sat at the desk. But for sure, thank you so much for the invitation again. Really appreciate it. Yeah, while I was reading the show notes and thinking about my mom, and I think I may have said this to you before, that my mom passed when I was in college, but we grew up. We grew up, of course, with my mom and my stepdad.
Where did
And
you grow up at?
I grew up in Jamaica
In Jamaica. Okay.
with my mom and my stepdad, and it was five boys, and we all lived in the same house, no girls. And I would just say that everything regarding women and just understanding how hard they work and really take care of their household just came from my mom. I respected her a lot. I respected everything that she did. It was unfortunate that she had to work so hard. I believe that I did not understand her level of education until I was like in high school, when I was asked to do some certain tasks that I would believe, why can't you do it? Can't you read and write? But what she did for me was to give me an opportunity to be able to verbalize, to be able to read, and to articulate in certain ways that I don't think I would have had if she was someone who was busy all around and maybe was really educated. Maybe should have done more. I don't know. But for someone who couldn't do those things, she really set the stage for me to understand like politics. I used to read the newspaper almost every single day because she would buy it and she handed it to me and I read the news to her. And while growing up, I had no clue the reason why I was reading the news to her until later on, that she was illiterate. And being in that household, not just that she recognized the need for me to be literate enough and to go to school and to get an education. She worked hard. She really worked hard, and I think she worked harder than I ever want anyone around me to work. And just coming out of that, just understanding the resilience that she had, I just respect her for that. And when she passed, certainly was very sad, but it's one of those things that happen, and I started looking back and wish I had more time to spend with her and really tell her how much I respected her for the work that she did.
And I think that's important.
Mhm.
It's kind of sort of what we're doing up here right now, and we all have kind of sort of share some positive things about some positive women in our lives, whether it be our mothers, aunts, or grandmothers. So I think that that's one of the things that men should do. We still we at the end of the day, we came from a woman. You know what I mean? Regardless of how you feel about them in your personal life, we all came from one. And I think that, most men have a an initial amount of respect for women in general, just off the bat, until proven otherwise. Um, so one of the things I want to get into, but I don't want to spend too much time on it, and I want to start with Cam because he got to pop smoking a little bit. Um, and that's some of the things that we may have been taught wrong, or not necessarily wrong, but may not have been necessarily as beneficial to us as men. Um, I'll start with Cam, and then I want to work our way around, because we learned a lot of good things from our mom, but sometimes they may not have had, or they may not have had it to give to us, or they may have just been taught wrong themselves. And then they pass those things that may not have been beneficial down to us. So I just want to spend a little bit of time talking about those things, just to make some viewers or some people who may be watching this maybe aware, not necessarily some red flags, just some things to maybe pay attention to. So I start with Cam.
Well, my background, man, just come. We were, things were kind of stern, Uncle
Oh,
Junior. You know
let me
what I'm saying?
clarify too, and this could be from your mom or like any of these women that we
Yeah.
previously talked about.
Well, I'm gonna just small for a short time. I'm gonna touch about the grandparents because I was really blessed until I was 13 years old. I had my great grandmama still alive. So on my mom's side, I had my mom, my grandmother, and until I was 13, my great grandmother. So I think that was a blessing within itself. Now my grandmother, she, man, she was really, really stern. I remember she would tell us sometime, because you know me, sometime I would not want to go to school, and she would always say, Cam, I don't care if you're dead, you're going to school. That was one of her saying. You know what I'm saying? And I still remember this to this day. Don't make any sense, but I still remember her saying that. And I come from a family, man, that just was not being able to make excuses, really kind of stern. And I think one thing, Uncle Junior, that I would take from it is not saying that they really taught me wrong, but having that compassion and the sense of allowing people to mess up, allowing my kids to make mistakes, things of that nature. Because with me, kind of like in our turn, we didn't get to be so opinionated like these kids are now. So and I also learned this I got a friend from Atlanta. Her name is Star. And she taught me a lot also. She's a single mom with 3 kids. And I used to didn't agree with her when she would tell me about how she would let her kids be so opinionated. And we would, because we talked a lot about how we came up and how, it was one-way conversations, when we were kids, it was like receive, what we call in the Army, receive only. That's what it was. So
Great conversation.
now, being more understanding of the father, to let your children have opinions. Now, some things are non-negotiable. You know what I'm saying? When it comes to being a parent. But I think it's a different time. And I think learning to be flexible, to realize this was a time I came up, and now this is a different area kid, to be more understanding and to let them grow. Now, I don't want to eat up all the time, but I think y'all kind of know where I'm going with it.
Yeah. Just adjusting, or just, maybe your grandparents were kind of sort of one way. They wasn't really open to change. It's going to be like this no matter what. And maybe you now, or maybe are like, well, I want to make some adjustments or change. I think that I should allow my son a little bit of flexibility because I think so too, because I think what that does, it teaches them how to communicate with adults. You know what I mean? So I think it's a positive thing too. And I can relate to that. Who else want to go? What you got, Antoine, over there? What's some of the bad stuff you learned? I'm picking up bad. You know what I mean?
I don't remember my grandparents too much. I was very young when they passed. I just remember that they were always cooking. And my grandfather, I think, always made pepper. That's all I remember, really. I don't have, I have vivid memories of that, but I don't have any. I mean, listen, they were very resilient people, right? My parents, they're very resilient people. So I want to say that, I mean, are we talking about from the mother side, women? Right.
We
So
talking about what were some of the things that you were taught wrong, or some of the things that you were taught by women that were not necessarily beneficial to you?
You know what? I didn't have any of that. I really, really didn't have any of that. I was never exposed to anything like that.
Vic, you can go next.
You know what I mean? I didn't have any of that. I mean, like I said, I didn't grow up with this ratchet talk and all. I didn't do it. I didn't have any of that. I mean, the women I knew weren't like that. I mean, they formed proper sentences. They were from the islands. They didn't know, they weren't corrupted, right? I mean, so they didn't have any bad habits. And when they came from the islands, they were the ones telling me, "Ooh, stay away from that one." I mean, so I didn't have that kind of upbringing, you know. And the friends that I had were good friends. And they weren't women either. I didn't want to hang around them. I wanted to play and do the karate stuff and all the guy stuff. I didn't really care about, you know, G.I. Joe and stuff like that. I didn't care what they had to say. I knew that they were good there for cooking, and that's it. They were setting the table, putting the plates down, and they did their knitting thing and whatever they did. And I didn't bond with any of those circles. So I wasn't taught bad habits. I just knew that, you know, they were proper, and I always had to respect my tongue when I spoke to the girls. And, you know, backhands came very quick if you disrespected them, if you peeked at them, if you looked at them funny. And, you know, yeah, they didn't wear pants, they wore dresses. So you couldn't, you know, when the wind blew, you had to kind of turn your head. Shit like that. That's all I can tell you, man. You know, I mean, Kev knows, like, he knows what I'm talking about. That's basically how it was for me. Till I got older and experimented on my own. And even then I couldn't bring them home. So yeah, that's it. That's all I got.
What you got, Vic?
Man, hey, what's the timestamp right now? 36.
36:49.
Let's say 36:53.
All
right.
On this day, I have complete agreement. I am in complete agreement with Antoine. I do not have any. Holy shit.
I'm gonna need some water.
That's why, like, I reacted. I'm so glad I had my mic off before. I said, this is not right. And I'm in complete agreement with Antoine. And I have to say this, man, because, like, I don't know anybody else's story, but the women in my family have never really given me any bad stories. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's degrees to this, right? You know, you can have folks that have done some absolute ratchet nonsense, right? Then you can just have some, you know, like surface level family quarrels that just come with, you know, like some irregular family competition. There's a certain competition that's always in family. You know what I'm saying? Or generally present. And I think that's pretty routine. You know what I'm saying? So, like, I don't see a lot of that in my own family. So, and I look at the whole dynamic, and maybe, you know, I'm in just a unique space, but I just recently flew my uncles out here, you know what I'm saying, to hang out and show them around and things of that nature. And I don't think they would be able to do that, you know what I'm saying, if they weren't in our already stable, you know what I'm saying, situations with their wives, you know, because they're all married. They're all older, you know. I don't have any reference points to any negative things that I've learned from women in my family. You know, I want to say that specifically to the women in my family, especially my mom. You know what I'm saying, all the way down on both sides of my family. You know, so no, hats off to the women that's in my family, because they give me a good reference point where I don't have to go back and say, what do I want to discuss on that? You know what I'm saying? What do I want to reveal? What level of privacy I want to make known? But the women in my family have largely been good examples of judgment for me. You know, when it came down to, you know, judgment of character, when I want to pick and choose a woman that I would want to date or something to that degree, you know, they usually fit in some sort of box. May not get everything right, but at least you had a, you know what I'm saying, a template to work off of. So yeah, man, go back to the beginning. make the timestamp 30. What was it? Whatever time frame it was. I am in complete agreement with Antoine. Jeez. I'm muting. I'm fly on the wall. I'm not saying nothing
There
else
was
today,
somebody
man.
else last week. Who was it last week? Was it Coach last week? It was Coach last week. Hey, shout out to Coach last week too.
You guys, man.
Oh man.
Way to go,
He's like 2 for 50.
Yeah, no, right. We got like 80 something.
Take it. Take
Keep
it.
shooting, Steph Curry. Keep shooting.
Right.
What you got, Orville?
I don't know. I've been thinking about it, and I didn't grow up with a lot of women around me. Not much I can tell you. I had my mom. I had 2 aunts and a cousin who was my age. Everybody else, they were all men. Of course, 4 brothers and uncles and grandparents. So what I think I was thinking about it in terms of like what I saw in terms of their environment and what they did. And I think some of the things that I wish they did differently, because I'm seeing that I kind of emulate some of those things when it comes to relationship. I don't think I saw a lot of physical connection with the women and the men around me. They did not have that touchy feeling, compassionate, lay on your shoulder, loving. Everybody was just busy, working hard, working overtime, trying to get things done, trying to make a living. So I think that's something that I wish I saw more. And I think every family, every woman, man should just try to kind of create that environment where they're showing their kids that it's okay to be touchy and loving with each other. And I don't think I saw that a lot. The other thing that I think it may have been Cam who said this, or I'm not sure, but that I in terms of like conversations, quite the conversations sometimes weren't taught, like give you a nice counsel, like sit down and have conversations to really pour into you, like give you, lessons that you can walk away with. It was more, don't do that, do this. It was very, um, down the line, very disciplined. So I think what I wish I heard more of or got was more of those conversations, that it was more, let's sit down and talk when you make a mistake, or maybe when something good happened, let's celebrate. That's some of the things I want. The other thing that I didn't see a lot of was celebrations. They didn't celebrate anything. Christmas roll around, it was everybody celebrating it. We weren't doing anything. Yeah, Christmas was just Christmas. Christmas wasn't Christmas in the home. It was just Christmas, like everybody celebrating it.
Except for us.
And it could be because maybe the funds weren't there. Maybe they didn't believe in something that I'm not aware of. But they didn't celebrate anything. I don't remember having any birthday happenings anytime inside my house. Nobody had a birthday party. Nobody had a birthday cake, nothing. So I don't remember any celebration. So if I were to say things that I wish they did more of, was to celebrate, they give life lessons, those conversations, and certainly be more compassionate and passionate with each other around us as men.
I like it. Powerful words right there. It was great. It was great. What you got, Coach?
So this would be number 2 for Antoine for today, right? Let me kind of make sense of it from my perspective. I want to start off by saying you don't know what you don't know. So for me to say the things that I may have been taught wrong would not consider what they knew prior to my assumption that I was taught it wrong. Here's the other side of it. I also believe that awareness evolves over time. Case in point, I'll give you a perfect example. One of the big things, one of the biggest sticking points that I learned growing up was respect. It was not customary for me not to use, not to address a man, an adult man or an adult woman as sir or ma'am. That was expected terminology. That is not something you see today. The reason why I know that that does not exist is because I was taught it. So that's kind of like the whole point. I got to go back and consider some things. I look at her family dynamics when she was growing up. I think that's important to understand because when we understand that, that also brings into light the evolution of teaching that came through her to me. So, what I don't want to do is hold her accountable for something that was never taught to her. So, I have to, go and, just like, just like Vic, I got to kind of agree with Antoine on that one, simply because at the end of the day, what I believe in my heart of heart, my mother gave me the best of what she had. And trust me when I tell you that her best was good enough. So, and I'm partial, yes, because it's my mother. I'm just going to be honest with you. But by that same token, I have considered this over the years. Like, what would a family dynamic? Was my
Man,
mother's father in her life? No. So you see what I'm saying? So you can't expect her to pass on something that her dad never taught her about men to me. So I can't claim that. But what I know she gave me, I know she meant the best based upon that. And that was good enough to propel me into life. And like you said earlier, I mean, I look around, I think I'm doing all right. I think I'm doing all right.
Yeah, I like that.
I think your parents are just a vessel for the best start. You know what I'm saying? Your parents just got to give you the best start possible. That's the only thing that they're really responsible for when you take accountability of your life. You know what I'm saying? They just owe you a good chance to get going, and that's fair enough. And after that, I can do whatever I got to do to make it out here.
Yeah. Hey, real quick, hey, before we jump to the next topic, Cam got to roll out, but before we do, I'm gonna give him a chance to say anything he want to say, before he rolls out, man.
Well, everybody, I'm finna get ready to leave to go to church, man. But it was nice meeting all of y'all. But I want to end by saying that we owe it to our mothers at a minimum to go out and be the man that they raised us to be, making all the sacrifices that they did for do us, and we do them. It's like almost an utter slap in the face if we don't go out and be the best form of men that we can for the sacrifices that they made for us. And I'll just end by saying that it was nice meeting all of y'all guys, and I'm looking forward to getting to know you guys and being on a future podcast.
Absolutely. Blessings, brother. Blessings.
It's my wolf pack sound. It's
See what
still.
happens. See what happens when people get brand new toys.
It
I'm
sounds
gonna
like
give you another one.
it's,
I'm gonna
it
get
sounds
one.
like
Hey, if
it's,
you out there in the chat, somebody send me a good wolf pack sound.
yeah, because that one sounded like it stubbed his toe.
It is. It did. Look at Antoine eating that up. Hey, Antoine, I'm gonna start with you on this one then. You had all these great women in your life and stuff like that. So
I don't know about that. I'm still single.
Your mom or whoever, what are some of those lessons that you've learned that you still apply today?
That's a good question. They taught me what a woman should be.
No, I said that you apply.
Oh, that I swear to God that I apply today.
Okay.
I apply it today. I swear to God. One of the main things in my life that I apply today is how to maintain a household, how to actually feng shui. I mean, keep things neat. You're more motivated when you can see what you want, right? You're not digging for it. Less chaos, right? And when things were chaos, what to think, and how to be when things are going crazy around you, when people are doing things that how to just internalize it, right? They taught me that. They taught me honestly, and I'm gonna say this, and I'm not even joking. They taught me how to make a sandwich with nothing. I mean, they taught me that discipline, what it is to be disciplined. And you know what? They a lot of the people, women in my life, taught me speak when spoken to. And most of all, they really instilled in me what a woman is, like what I should be looking for in my own life. that will complement me and bring that peace. They really taught me what a woman is. I just by their actions, the things they say, how they were so nurturing, the role of a woman, the strength of a woman, you know, and not just by words, by what they did, the grocery shopping, the, you know, making $1 out of 15 cents, the how to save, and all the things that my father never was good at. Never even, men don't even think about this, right? And how to not be shameful about anything, you know, and be proud of whatever comes out of your mouth and own it, right? And one thing my mother taught me was accountability, right? She really taught me that because she took accountability for everything and she wanted us to have that. And I take that today from my cousins, um, the ones that did come and visit us. Uh, yeah, that's all I gotta say on that, man. Like I said, I got the definition of a woman in my life, and I know what to look for. I really do. And the role of a woman, and a good woman at that, you know, and how words are powerful and have meaning behind it, you know, and how silence is strength, you know. Boy, yeah, I'm telling you.
Sound good, man. Let me go next. One of the things I apply is, like I said, I apply some of my mom's thriftiness. Um, I think thriftiness and not being, I don't even know if she was ashamed or not, but just like I'm not ashamed to like go into um the Goodwill and go buy something. You know what I mean? Like I'm not scared to save $1 or to save a penny. Like I don't owe anybody any explanation as far as where I choose to spend my money, you know? So um it sucked growing up, but I think it also taught me a little bit of humility. Um Growing up, and I don't know about y'all, but every once in a while we get some of that little brown booklet with some food stamps in it, right? I was embarrassed to go to the store to go use them food stamps because I ain't want people to be in there that's going to see me. So I only wanted to go if it's like $1, because you could take the dollars out and you can use them, but anything like five and tens and 20, you have to leave them in the book. So I mean, just overall, just being thrifty, having some humility, being okay with doing certain things and not caring about what other people say. Yeah, she might have had to do it out of necessity, but what I got from it was that it's okay to go and shop in these places. We still had good clothes. They was used sometimes, but they were still good. They were clean. And at the end of the day, that's really all that matters. She was like, y'all go to school, y'all clean, and y'all fed. So um all of my needs were always met. So like I said, my thriftiness, being humble, being like all of those other things that I said, those are, some of the things that I learned and still apply today in my life with my mom, from my mom.
So I'm gonna jump in real quick. Um, I know Antoine brought that big old fancy word in here, and me and Vic gave him the pinkies up because we appreciate it. My mom didn't teach me feng shui; she taught me functional. Um, I'm just being honest. You
Yeah.
come to my house, bro. I don't have a stitch of curtain up, but let me tell you something. I got blinds all throughout my house. Like my house is extremely functional. I don't
Hmm.
really put a whole lot of time and efforts into putting, paintings on the wall and all the other great stuff. But here's the things that I would say. The things that she taught me that I apply today. I would like to say everything because they ultimately became habitual. She taught me how to cook. She taught me how to clean up. She taught me how to separate and wash clothes. She taught me how to clean the bathroom. She taught me how to mop the floors and all that other great stuff. She told me specifically, she said, if you get a woman, it will be because you want one, not because you need one. And those words really stuck with me. So there is nothing that I cannot do within the house. There's another thing that she taught me that I thought was just amazing, and that was the art of hard work. Nobody's going to give you anything for free. So you're going to have to go out there and work for it. And because of the era that we were raised in, she said, you're going to have to be twice as better than your competitors. I don't have to go into detail about who our competitors are, right? But again, that was the era that I was raised in. So she always worked hard. My mother kept her job. She always worked second, third shift. It didn't matter. She would sacrifice. Somebody brought up sacrifice earlier. She would sacrifice for the sake of us. Um, all of those things were available, just like you, Uncle Junior, that humility piece as well. I think I experienced some of that as well. Mom, I didn't want to go to the store and spend this. The fella's going to see me. And one of the things she said, I bet if I bring that food up in this house, you're going to eat it. So, it was, it was just some of those things. I had to, I had to learn to humble myself the hard way. Just being responsible. I think that's another thing. I would do because I'm a kid, man. I do silly stuff and get in trouble. And she would teach me responsibility in her own little unique way, and sometimes it would be in front of my friend. So all of those things, I think I apply today. And again, like I said previously, man, I think it worked out very well because I still apply a lot of that today. So that's just it.
Yeah, I really admire that, coach, because I think I can definitely go with some of those thoughts, because I think one of the biggest thing my mom taught me that I'm still applying today is just to be responsible. Just take responsibility for your action and just be responsible for the people around you. She worked very hard, and while she was very resilient, the only thing about that I don't like is that you have to go through some stuff to be resilient. And when you're going through stuff and you have to develop that level of resiliency, it makes life hard, and it comes out, and it's things happen. So, but she was very resilient when she was going through. So she taught me how to be to push through and to take risk. I think I am the ultimate domesticated person when it comes to my house, because I do not have to worry about anything. I can cook, I can clean, I can wash, I can clean my shoes, I do everything. So my mom taught me from early how to do those things. So we were responsible for washing dishes and cleaning the house, and to take care of yourselves, your clothes, your everything. So there is nothing that I would say I would need someone else to do in my house that I can't do. Yes, I would share the responsibility, because like at this time I do not fancy washing dishes anymore. I use the dishwasher, but it's because I've done it so much. I love making sure that my bed is spread, it's taken care of, the house is clean, everything is just intact. So domestically, I can take care of my household. And I think it's because my mom taught me, like, you have to take care of your household. The minute you get up in the morning, you're able to make your breakfast, you can cook your lunch, you can make your dinner. I don't need anyone to do that for me. I share those responsibilities because I'm in a sharing environment. But if I had to do it by myself, I could. But she definitely taught me some stuff, and I really apply them today because they really helped me to continue to be functional.
Yeah, I like that, and I know you got to step out in a second. So, before you do, take a couple minutes and say or add value to anything or anybody who may want to watch the show, man.
For sure. I think something I've been thinking about from the other day is just as I was going through the 15 invaluable laws of growth with the mastermind that I'm doing. One of the things that I constantly come back to me is for us to give back. I think it's that chapter around the law of the mirror and not comparing yourself to other people. And it specifically talks about when you compare yourself to other people, basically what you're doing is trying to compare yourself to their yesterday or tomorrow. You don't know. And if you should put yourself in other people's shoes, you would realize how much they have been through and why you shouldn't compare yourself. So I would just want to say to everyone out there, that one of the best thing you can do is to just be yourself, be your own person, and to just live your life and live your dream, because there's no way or you're going to benefit from looking at other people. And just continue to go out there, and if you serve others, then you'll realize how much people don't have and how much you have. So I would just say, just don't compare yourself, and just go out there and just serve.
Hey man, I appreciate it, man. And then whenever you got to bounce out, go ahead and bounce out,
Thank
man.
you.
I appreciate you.
Appreciate it.
Yes, sir. Antoine, what's some of the things that you apply from all the lovely ladies that you were taught? I know you know how to cook. I know you value your pots.
Don't forget my glassware. Come on now. Put that in there.
And your stoneware and your pinky finger and
Man,
that's how close do it.
that's a really good. I mean, I have to say, I besides the cleanliness and the times to make right decisions, being gentle, being strong, not saying what I'm supposed to say when I'm thinking it. Think before I open my mouth. Even though I kind of mess up on that a lot lately, but yeah.
Oh, that was my fault. I didn't mean
really did teach you some accountability.
It really did. No, I really learned that from I'd say I apply that today. Like, just face what you gotta face. You got no choice. You made it, own it. Just own it. Just own it. And the best thing to do is just blurt it out, so that way you don't have to try to cover it up and make it sound pretty. Yeah. That's honestly what gentleness, softness, kindness, all that I applied today because of my parents, my mom.
Yeah.
I saw real strength, man.
I picked up some cleanliness from my mom too. Like,
yeah.
My mom was always moving the furniture around. House was always clean. Even like then, like my room used to be clean. Like my mom now, like when I was a kid, like I used to keep my room clean. And I still like to have my room clean.
Right. And when you see that little breadcrumb on the floor, you kind of like pick it up.
I ain't like that.
I am. I'm like, yeah.
I know you are. I know you are. Hey, that's all good. But I ain't trying to do all of that stuff.
Yeah, do it, man. I'm spotless. I like it. Oh, yeah.
So of all of these things, I know some of us got kids and some don't. But it don't matter. So you're working on it.
Yeah, I'm looking for her.
I'm
taking applications.
Hey, there you go. Shout out, Antoine is on Tinder. What else you on? Reddit?
Reddit? Reddit?
I don't know. It's probably a day now. They said they be posting all kind of stuff on there, so I figured.
Reddit?
Unseasonedonly.com.
Is that where he at? He was the POF?
Yeah, well, you know what? I ain't much into meeting them in the clubs and stuff like that, or going out and all that. That's all movie stuff. That don't work.
No, it don't work?
Nah.
People to get married and hitched all kind of ways.
Come on now.
And so you in all them pretty women in Beverly Hills, man.
Oh, please. Most superficial.
Just like that.
Very superficial.
All you gotta do is stand on your wallet.
Hold up. I'm talking about real relationships.
Go stand on your wallet, Antoine. Hey, go down Beverly Hills Avenue, go up to the
school, right now.
Wallet down and go stand on it.
Stand on your wallet. Say that shit in French.
Yeah.
And tell everybody out here. You know what I'm saying? Like you waiting on that. You looking for all this shit. You taking candidates. All applicants.
Antoine, you should start a TikTok called "Standing on Your Wallet." Right? It's just a bunch of pictures, a bunch of videos of you standing on your wallet, hollering at chicks. Standing on your wallet, hollering at chicks. That's it. That's the whole TikTok. You can have that.
That's bad, man. Nah, man. Something real.
I'm investing.
Something real.
Well, there'll be some.
Hey, I know we're counting. So I got 2 granddaughters. I don't have daughters. This probably may be more so for me and Coach. I know Vic don't want to have kids. Antoine do want to have kids. So I understand that between me and my granddaughters, there's a barrier called my son and his wife. Um, so I've been thinking about this, and I've still been thinking about this. What do I plan on trying to teach, or do I want to teach, my granddaughters? Um, and what it came down to was kind of sort of I want to teach them how to be, I want to teach them an example. I want to be an example to them of what right looks like. I want to be involved. I want to go to the games. I want to do all of those things that, grandfathers and stuff are supposed to do. All of that utopian or superficial or whatever type of stuff you want to call it. Like, I want to do all of those things. My son doesn't live here. He lives in a different state. Um, but at the same time, I think one thing that I really want to teach, that I would like to really, really teach them, is the value and the importance of reading. Um, that's one area where I know that I messed up as a father, and I didn't really, not didn't really, I didn't know how impactful and how important it was to read and to be um just to, I guess because I work in the elementary school, I see the difference in the students who read and the ones who don't. I look at it, as we grow up and stuff like that, and we around certain people, look at Coach back there, all those books he got, and then you listen to when he talks and what comes out of his mouth, and you can see the correlation. So I see the value in reading and learning, just information in general. So that's one thing that I would definitely try to pass on down to my granddaughters. I know it's not about, a lot of the relationship things and other things that we talked about. But I think that being able to read at a high level is super beneficial. Um, so like I said, for me, that's one thing that I really was trying to figure out, and that's one thing that I kind of thought about. So um, anybody else? What you got, Antoine or Coach or Vic? I know Vic said he ain't want to have no kids, so I don't know what he
I'm
passing.
out. I'm
He
out.
said him out.
Hey, I think I jump on this one, man. I like what you're saying, Uncle Junior, and
Mm,
I agree with you 100%. I got five total, right? So two girls, two boys of my own, and my son, who is the oldest. He has blessed me with a beautiful grandson. Um, and they're in the state of South Carolina and in the state of Texas. Um, I think as I think into this question, I think the things that I want them to understand kind of come twofold. Number one, spend more time learning how to be and less time learning how to do. I think a lot of times we judge people on the things that they do and don't even realize that the things that they do are, in essence, a subset of who they are. So if they focus on who they are and build their character, then the things that they do will become natural. One of the things that people, I had to learn this younger, but I think one of the things that we all need to learn is that you can only put on a facade for but so long before somebody who can actually see figure out who you really are. So don't hide behind the facade. Let your character go before you, and your character will get you in the room, actually keep you in the room. If you don't have the character when you get in the room, trust me, you ain't gonna stay in the room long. The second thing I want to kind of pass on to them is the importance of family. I think family is extremely important. And, I just don't see, especially in a lot of the spaces that we kind of participate in when it comes down to social media, whatever the case may be, I'm not seeing a very strong emphasis on family. And because there isn't such a strong emphasis on family, that kind of gets back to that never ending conversation between men and women being divided. Um, and so, if we can understand the value of family, first of all, then we can understand that we are better together than we are apart collectively, right? Brothers, men helping men, being there for men, lifting men up, being cheerleaders for men within the family dynamics, right? Let me correct my brother when I see him in error. That way I can help him preserve his family and vice versa. Um, and then when we get to the point to where we value family, then our family collectively can be an asset to the community. So I think those are the two things I want to pass along to them. Number one, focus on building your character at an early age. Don't just focus on doing stuff. We get so busy, and I like using the term busy because a friend taught me a very good acronym that I think is very influential. And that acronym busy ultimately equates to bounded under Satan's yokes, right? So we just gone from doing this and doing this and doing this and doing this. And ultimately, if we don't have a reason of a focus, an aim or a goal behind what we're working on, then we're just aimlessly wandering about doing stuff. And so from the outside, it looks like I'm busy. And what we're confused busy or busyness, we'll confuse busyness with business, right? So that's the thing. Don't be so busy. Understand what your business is and be about your business. That way, now you'll start being able to prioritize the things that are important. Here's what's important to me: family. Family is important, right? Brotherhood is important. So I make time to sit here and talk to my brothers every Wednesday night. I make time to talk to my brothers every Friday night. So when you put family as one of your priorities, you will make time to spend time with family. So it's just those things, man. I want to make sure I kind of press that going forward, because now we're talking about legacy, right? So what am I passing along? What am I leaving for my children? I'll be honest with you, my children, y'all grown, y'all good. I'm not leaving y'all nothing. Everything go to my grandson. You know what I'm saying? And I say it jokingly, right? But I just want to be honest. Like that young man, I really want that young man to start so far ahead in life that his hair sticks back. I'm just saying that. Like, forget running the race. I want him to lead the race at a young age. Now, we're not just going to give him stuff so he can squander it. We want to make sure that we instill in him and any other grandchild to come. But I want to make sure that we understand the importance of family so we can start focusing on legacy. Once we start doing that, then I believe we'll understand the concept of, leaving things from generation to generation to generation. So that's it. I know it's a little long-winded, but I'm sorry, brother. I just think that's an important question.
Good, coach. Good. Now we get to hear what thus says Antoine. What kind of stuff you plan on passing down if you have a little girl, Antoine? A little Antoine. Yeah, y'all probably gonna have the same hair.
Man, what am I gonna pass down, dude?
You can pass them blouses down.
What you had on there?
Hey! What am I gonna pass down?
I'm being the antagonist today.
Yeah.
Your art, bro.
I mean, I'm hoping she's not an artist, man. I want her to be something like a doctor or a lawyer, or yeah, something like that, or a prosecutor. I don't know. Art is great. What was that?
You want her to be a modern woman?
A modern woman?
Yeah.
No. She's gonna know the values of a good woman. She's gonna have all that in her. I'm gonna, yeah.
There you go. That's what you're gonna be teaching right there. What you gonna teach her there, Antoine? You got it.
I'm gonna teach her how to avoid guys like me when I was younger. I'm gonna teach her. I'm gonna teach her everything that's good in me, and I'm gonna, teach her like my mother taught me what to look out for, and don't believe the first or second thing that comes out of his mouth. Believe the third thing, because that's probably the truth. Yeah, I'm gonna really teach her how to be a really sophisticated, well-spoken young lady. Yeah, she's gonna have a head on her shoulders.
Go ahead.
Can I add something, Antoine? If I had your skill set, bro, going back to what I just said, I would literally draw something and make it priceless, and then pass that along. You know what I'm saying? Hoping that they keep it in the family for years to come.
That's a good idea there, Coach. I never thought about drawing anything that's. I don't have anything drawn like. That's a very good idea. You know what? That's a very good idea. I got to give you props on that. I never thought about that. Yeah. You know what? I'm gonna do that.
Have you done a self-portrait?
Healthy competition.
No, I never will draw a self-portrait. People will do that.
You said you only draw celebrities.
Yeah, but I never draw a self-portrait of myself. Shit, can't handle this handsomeness. Looking at this beauty all the time for 40 hours, 50 hours a week. Come on now.
Just don't pass that. Don't pass that. Yeah, don't pass that attitude along.
Yeah,
What's more vain than that? What's the artist draw themselves and say, "Y'all not? I'm too handsome to draw myself."
I can't.
Oh yeah, man.
Looking at that beauty, that Adonis look of mine. Are you crazy? I ain't drawing that. Everybody's looking for Superman, not realizing Clark Kent's right here, baby.
I'm gonna close out, man. We're gonna close with final thoughts, man. We'll go around the horn. Antoine, since you got your mic unmuted, man. Any and all things, we don't even have to stick to the topic. I just want to kind of close it out.
I would say, man, if you have a mother that's still alive and she did good for you and you really turned out okay, you got to tell that woman you love her every day. I tell my mother I love her every time we speak. I don't think there's one time I ever spoke to her and I didn't tell her I love her. And being away from her really made me realize how much I love her. It really made it full circle for me, like the importance of of what she did. I can only thank her. Thank your mother for everything. And I don't want to get teary-eyed because I could get teary-eyed talking about my mom. So I'm going to leave it right there. Yeah, I'm going to leave it right there.
I appreciate that, Antoine. Yeah. Want to go next with a final thought?
So I guess I'm gonna jump on this and I'm gonna kind of change it up real quick, because Antoine kind of had us a little teary-eyed.
I love.
No, man, you guys are on me today, boy.
Antoine, this for you, bro. Too sexy for your shirt. No, seriously. No, seriously, man.
I'll go wear it next week just because of that.
Please do, man. Please do. Listen, I've said this before, and I'm gonna continue to say it. I think so. Every situation isn't the same. I want to start off by saying that, and I think it's important to understand that because I think the mark of a true man is the love that he had for his mother. Let's be honest. The relationship that you have for your mother, that's the first relationship that you have with anybody of the opposite sex. So in essence, there is a very telling attachment theory that exists between you and your mother that will manifest itself in your life as an adult. So I think that's important to understand. I think the world of my mother. I think my mother is amazing. Anybody who knows me knows that me and my mother, we have a phenomenal relationship. There is not anything that I wouldn't do for her. I think, I can't remember who said, I want to say it was Orville. My mother has a place in my house. She knows that. And whenever she wants to take me up on that, it is there. It is waiting on her. If I have a home, she have a spot. That's just what it is. And so when it comes down to it, all of this is present because of all of the love, the conversations, the tears, the prayers, all those things that she did on my behalf. Let's just be completely honest. I am the oldest child that she has. I had a sister older than me that passed away before I was born. So she was very protective of me, and for obvious reasons. I am the only boy that she has, right? I have two younger sisters. So we spend a copious amount of time, my mother and I, conversating, expressing love back and forth to one another, because I don't want there to be a time to go by to where she doesn't know how much I love her. I think every man has to do that or be working towards that. Again, I got it, barring some some extenuating situations that may have taken place in the past, right? We're not talking about the exceptions to the rule. Those are the exceptions to the rule. But the rule should be every man should have a great relationship with their mother. If one of the lessons that I plan on helping my daughters to understand or help my daughters to understand is if you meet a man that doesn't have a great relationship with their mother, then that might be a red flag. So again, just be cautious in that vein. So when it comes down to moms, I think moms are just amazing. I think my mother is amazing. And again, I just appreciate all the lessons that she taught me.
I like it. What you got there? Cold talk. Roll
Man,
Tide.
so
See what somebody wrote in the chat.
yeah, I see that. I appreciate that. Roll Tide.
Was a hater, not a
Nah,
hater,
it's not a hater.
not a hater,
And
a participator.
it's a participator. It's
Yeah.
a participant.
Yeah.
So
I'll leave it up there for you, for your final thought.
so during the show, I write down words, right? And I'm gonna run through a few that I wrote down. I wrote down skepticism, stubbornness, rigidness, resourcefulness, critical thinking, exposure, matters, etiquette, empathy, humility, structure, routine, repetition, restraint, mind your business, service, organized, family, efficiency, prioritization skills, and discernment. I learned a lot from my mom. You know what I'm saying? Like, I wouldn't even know what these words mean without being able to listen, take instruction, submit to something greater than myself, understand that I'm not the one that's in charge in every single situation, understanding the difference between being in charge and in control, uh, finding balance, using my resources to make things more efficient for other people, always integrating empathy in everything that I do, understanding that everybody doesn't have the same capacity. Uh, man, like it's so many things that go into the way that I move every day, my level of interaction, knowing when to disengage, and conflict resolution. Man, my mom taught me a lot just in the way that she carries herself, the way that she sees things through, how punctual she is, and how consistent she is. So I grew up knowing what a certain expectation was of you when you got a chance to elevate, and it was on your own, based on your own merit. So my mom taught me a lot about resiliency and understanding that everything isn't prepared for you. You have to make everybody else prepare for you. Yep.
My fault. I couldn't find the button.
I was like, awkward. I'm ready to drink.
Look at Coach up there. Look at Coach.
You are an antagonist.
But also I see that big A in the background too on your screen. So, Roll Tide, go Dogs, and I don't know what football team they got in Beverly Hills, but
It starts with a U.
Utopian Undertakers. I don't know.
It's blouses, whatever it is. The jersey is blouses. I'm pretty sure.
So y'all keep talking about his blouses.
Yeah, it probably string up in the middle.
Hey, I appreciate all y'all guys for being on here. Cam, Orville, I appreciate y'all. I know y'all had to leave and stuff like this. Coach, Antoine, Vic, appreciate y'all. Chat, even though it was dry today, I appreciate those comments from the couple people that did pop in there and say something. Also, thank you all of you who tuned into the live show today. I appreciate it. We'll be back here next week.
Yep.
p.m. Eastern
Best
Standard.
upcoming show right here. This is it.
This is it right here. So tell your friends to come by, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, and all of those different things like that. We're going to see y'all next week. We are out.